All right, if I can have everybody's attention, please. My name is Lee Allen, I'm District 1 Commissioner, but I'm the Vice Chairman for 2018, so I'll be running the meeting tonight since the Chairman's not here. If I could, I'd just like to call the meeting to order, since it's 6:30. If everybody could look at their cell phones, make sure they're off on the silent position, please. Take care of that before we get started. Give everybody a few seconds to do that. As soon as everybody gets that, we'll get up, we'll do the pledge, and then after the pledge, we'll have a little moment, I'll say a little prayer, and then we'll get started. All right? Everybody, say the pledge with me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for another day here. Please guide us as we do the county's business tonight. I'd like to lift up Mrs. Peffel, Mr. Peffel's wife, for your healing hands that only you can provide. Please, all the others that need you, please be with them tonight. Thank you for your grace and your protection always. And in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let's see, I don't believe we have any yes, I want to ask you. You got to approve the minutes from the December 18, 2017 agenda setting meeting. I'll be looking for a motion to approve. Motion to approve. Second. Got a motion to approve a second. I'll start the vote. Yes. 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 Perfect. Off to a good start. Thank you, God. Chairman's report tonight, real short. I'll just go over what Chairman had sent to me. We've got progress in the comprehensive plan, update approval as we continue to work with the Regional Commission, Department of Community Affairs, as DCA. Try to get that done. We're on track to meet the January 15th deadline so we can get grant loan applications out as needed. We have a special call meeting on the 10th, that's coming Wednesday, on that to hopefully get that approved and keep moving along so we can meet those deadlines. Just want to say congratulations to the Athens Regional Library System, as they, along with the Madison County Library, have been selected as Georgia's 2017 Public Library of the Year. Yay! Yeah, so if you're around the library, Jennifer Ivy and her staff, if you could give them a hand and a pat on the back. Maybe some donations, they like those too. Tell them congratulations. Let's move on to number 4, the hearing and actions on rezone matters, special use permit, etc. If Ms. Lamar, you want to come up, she's going to do it first. Do it first. So I recognize Ms. Linda.
Before you got your preliminary plat for Woodbury subdivision. This is the subdivision that was the last one to be approved with under 1.5 acre lots. This is off of Piedmont that backs up to Spratly Mill subdivision. This was approved by the Planning and Zoning Board 7-1. You will not be getting the final plat tonight. The day after it was approved by the Planning and Zoning Board, the Health Department came back with a whole list of stuff they are now requiring on final plat verbiage that has to go in there. So hopefully that will be coming before you very soon. Mr. Ned Butler is here. If you have any questions for him, he'll be glad to answer those for you.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn. We'll just approve the preliminary. You guys want to look for a motion to approve the preliminary plat? You guys want to go ahead and do that and get the discussion? First approved. I'll second that. You guys have any questions for these guys or anything? I don't. We don't have to go out. Got a lot. All right, for Mr. Pepper, could you start the vote? Yes. 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 Mark, you can come up?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. The next rezone request is for Russell and Terry Tankersley. They are requesting to rezone their 2.14 acre property from R1 to RR so they can have pigs. Property is located on map 17, parcel 33, at 5243 Nowhere Road, District 1. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was a recommendation to approve with a vote of 4-3. Recommended approval of the request.
All right, well, if I do this properly, we have the petitioner or the attorney that would like to come up and speak on behalf of that. Mr. Victor, come on. Does he have something to read first?
Actually, the law would require you to read that out loud, but the financial disclosure. Did you get that?
I did not.
Okay. Let me find it in here. You had it, Rhonda? Okay. Is that what it's usually done? Oh, yeah.
The P and Z board does that usually, but we don't.
Yeah, we've not been doing it lately? Okay. All right. Then we're good to go. Go ahead.
My apologies.
No problem.
Victor Johnson for the Tankers Field with Slam Law Firm, Phoenixville, Georgia. I have some documents to hand you. One is a petition signed by 36 people. It's got 40 people on it in support of the rezone. I'll put the original to the clerk and a copy to this side. Then I have a attachment for rezoning, which is our mandatory challenge to the current zoning of the property. We have to raise this in order to protect my client's rights if they had to appeal the rezone decision. There are 3 extras. And a drawing from the current zoning of the immediate area showing the subject parcel is number 1733. It's sort of in a black bow tie. And I'll explain this. The Tankersleys actually were before the board last spring. They have had show pigs on their property for 17 years. This whole area is a bit of an anomaly under the zoning ordinance because originally when the zoning was passed in 1994, this area was designated agricultural on lots that were much too small to be agricultural at that time. At that time, A1 and A2 lots had a 25-acre minimum, and there are many 1, 2, 3, and 5-acre lots in this immediate area that are zoned A1 and A2. And my clients are zoned R1. They are right on the edge of a large subdivision to the west, which has almost all A1 zoning for lots 5, 4, 3, and less than 2 acres. The reason I'm bringing this up is this is sort of an unusual rezone request. The Tankersleys had been raising show pigs with their children, with their family's children and friends' children. When they bought the property, there was a shop on the property. They built a shed that was later turned into an enclosed temperature-controlled barn for the show pigs. And for over 10 years, they had been showing pigs. They've done this for 17 years, but they've been showing well over 10 years with the 4-H and the with the 4-H and the FFA. Last year when they applied to rezone, the zoning board approved it, but the commissioners denied it 3-2 and gave them until June to remove the pigs from the property. At great expense, they have purchased or are purchasing land about a half mile to the south, where they spent $20,000 building a pole barn for the sows and the pigs that were on their property. However, show pigs tend to be younger animals and they need better temperature control. They have a 3-year contract, and maybe a 2-year contract now with the gas company to heat this enclosed barn on their property. Barn is more than 50 feet from the neighbor's line. At the hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission, Ms. Yin, who is the neighbor immediately to the west, although she had concern about pigs in combined animal feeding operations and large density pig pens, which this is not, she did state that as of last spring, when they only had 2 or 3 pigs on the property while they were getting them all moved over, she didn't have any problems with the animals being there. They take pigs to the shows in Perry every year. They're solely for personal consumption and for show, and the necessity to allow this rezone is so they would be able to, under your current zoning, they would only be allowed to keep 2 pigs at a time. They keep the barn clean when they had pigs there. They dispose of the pig waste by putting it in feed bags and then taking it to the dumpster or disposing of it off-site. And they are requesting the rezone so they would be able to continue to use this facility during the winter and during about 8 months out of the year when they're actually showing the pigs, to have some at their house where in the shed, in the barn, where they're better able to take care of the animals. Twice a year, April to May, July to August, is when the pigs are weaned. The show season is generally in the winter, and they would like to be able to keep a few pigs there on the property. Also attached to the constitutional challenge is a survey of their property showing the shed and then a hand drawing of the barn attached to the shed, marked as a building on that survey. A letter from February of last year from Lauren Lord at the Madison County Farm Bureau about how the Tankersley family has participated in show pigs in the county, and then I submitted a constitutional challenge basically saying that you've allowed other people in the area to do this. I'm not saying it's okay to allow use in violation of the zoning ordinance. You have people who've had livestock and horses in R1 zoned property. You have RR property. It's shown in blue on the handout that I've given you immediately to the northeast, and there's a subdivision about half a mile south that is also R1 property. Ms. Tankersley is here, and I believe some people from the agriculture community are here to speak as well. So I'll give them a chance to speak unless you have specific questions for me right now. The use of this property, if it is allowed, would be less than a sixth of what it was in terms of animals, because we're talking 2 small pigs. The sows are kept in the pole barn facility a half a mile to the south, whereas in the past they would have up to a dozen pigs in the barn. Thank you.
All right, if there's anybody else that would like to speak in favor of this, and make sure you keep, if there's redundancies, things like that, try to keep it as brief as possible and stay on track, all right? Ms. Terry Tankersley, if you'll say your name and your address for the record.
Okay, my name is Terry Tankersley. I live at 5243 Nowhere Road. And I won't repeat a lot of what he said, but just to kind of give you an idea, with these show pigs, when we register them for the state show, they have to meet a minimum weight requirement. A lot of times in the fall, that's not difficult. Summertime, pig gets up and eats, it's a more comfortable environment. The wintertime with these extreme colds, now granted some winters are milder, but this winter particularly has been a humdinger. And they don't get up, they don't come out, they don't eat, the water pipes are frozen, you know, I could go on with a long list. If they don't meet that minimum weight, then you don't get to show them. You go across the scales and they say, you didn't make weight, get out, you know, or don't allow you the opportunity to exhibit an animal that you've raised for 3 months or whatever time limit you put the feed and time into it. So those are some of the main concerns I have as far as for the cold months in the wintertime. Like you said, we were compassionate, we listened, we understood to the neighbors' complaints and issues, and we made some accommodations, and we spent our savings and tried to accommodate. We still have a lot of work to do. There is no more money to do any of that work. Eventually, I would like to have everything isolated at one place, but financially, that's just not feasible. So this barn and access to it would allow me that pig or 2 in there, or if we need to wash or clip and have that heat to be able to do that, to prepare to a show and not be scared to death what neighbor may see a pig walking on and off a trailer and raise a ruckus. We're not looking to go back to where we were. We're not looking for the dozen plus. We're just looking to take an enclosed, heated barn that's got water that doesn't freeze, to where if I need to wash or clip or
if I have an injured pig or sick pig that needs a lot more care and routine, that I can't go up and down the road, and the child can't go up and down the road to be able to medicate, take care, Pedialyte, drench, whatever we're having to do. So we're looking for a lot more casual use of what we have at home, until eventually I would like to have all of it at one location, but right now financially it's just not feasible. Some of the names on those petitions are people that live on Hazelnut and Briarwood and my immediate next door neighbors who feel that we're not an issue or a problem to them. If that barn particularly, also if we have an ice storm or without power, it's got a wood stove in it, so we're able to pop some wood in it and at least keep that pig or two that might be small or on the verge of not making weight for the state show, try to keep it warmer to where we can make weight. And I won't repeat all the other things that he said.
You guys have any questions or anything?
I'd like to ask you a question too. This, maybe this would be the attorney. This list of names that we have here, the petition, there's about 30 or 31 names on here that live nowhere around the place. Some of them live in Calvert, some in Royston, some over near my house that won't be affected at all by anything that goes on with that. I was wondering why you'd have somebody that lives miles away sign a petition for what you want.
Well, for one thing,
Why would you want somebody in Royston to sign a petition for that?
It's Royston address, but they're all Madison County residents, and the 4-H programs are not isolated in one area. They're countywide programs. And everyone in the county has the right to speak on zoning issues. They do it all the time.
But they're not neighbors, and they wouldn't be affected at all by whatever went on over there.
If they want to allow a family to raise show pigs that have been raising show pigs for 17 years, they have a right, under the First Amendment right, to redress grievances before their elected officials in government, to say they support the rezone. I've been in many rezones before this body where many people speak out who are not favors and don't live anywhere near the property.
And Mr. Pepple and everyone else, the petitions submitted by people who aren't here speaking presently, they're entitled to as much or as little consideration as you want to give them as board members.
Gotcha.
But the 4 that have marks next to them are the ones I knew from the immediate area, and as Ms. Tankersley said, there are some others who live in the immediate area as well.
The only question I have is, since the last meeting, I believe you have had some pigs there since the last time we were.
On and off, yes. On and off, yes. If we've needed to wash clip or something sick or injured, but yes, on and off, very short term, yes.
How many pigs will you have in there?
They tell me 2.
Only 2 pigs all the time?
Yes.
Never more than 2?
No, because they tell me that whatever y'all passed in July.
Is considered a hog parlor.
Hog parlor.
3 or more is considered a hog parlor, so she can only have 2, because hog parlors aren't allowed in RR zones. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on behalf?
I certainly would. I'm Cindy Jones, 670 Eller Road, Commerce, Georgia. And I'm the young farmer teacher for Madison County and an FFA advisor to Terry and Russell's 2 sons, which is where this project began. And it's exactly what we hope happens with our students, that they take something they've learned in the classroom, they have family support, and it actually grows into a business and a family endeavor. And to Mr. Hethel, to answer your question, I think there are people all across the county who look at the Tankersleys and hope that maybe their kids will catch a passion and a vision, and they can support them, and that as they experience these growing pains, it's not allowed because of the zoning issue. And you know, the Tankersley are certainly kind of in a transition between where they are and where they want to go, and without accommodations from this board, that ends for them, and that vision that they have of what it could be. And the passion that began with 2 little boys, both who I had the privilege of teaching, ends, and I think that concerns parents all over our county. Thank you.
Anyone else? Come on up. No problem. I won't take it out of your time, Terry, don't worry about it.
Terry Chandler, 202 Fowler Freeman Road, Danielsville, Georgia, and thank you all for the opportunity to speak. Just a couple of points on this rezone, and really on any rezone. I'd like for us to get in the mindset of separating a couple of things. Really, when we look at rezones, the number one question for you as commissioners, as decision makers for us, is this request appropriate for the area in which it's considered? Would it be considered to be light use for what is going on in that area? Once you make that decision, the ordinance defines what can and cannot be done in our zone. So code enforcement would take care of that part of it. The real question for you is this appropriate in the area? And as Mr. Johnson has already pointed out, this area is surrounded with A1, A2, other RR properties. So there's no question that no question in my opinion, RR fits in this area, which is the underlying question for you to answer, to address tonight. Two other points I'd like to make, and I really want you to really consider one of these. The Tiger List has been before you before, and there obviously was some concern for the neighbors. I personally am very impressed with the steps that they took to bring themselves in compliance with the ordinances they were instructed to do. It's been a very difficult thing for me to watch, because this has been going on for many years, and probably if somebody wanted to be belligerent about it, they could have issued a challenge just because what they were doing was unchallenged for 14 years. So I really appreciate the attitude that they took to bring themselves into compliance, and then to come back and spend a lot of money in doing so, and to come back before you to ask to be allowed to do what they're doing at a much smaller scale. Y'all are aware we were in hog production for many years, and what they're dealing with is nothing in scale. We were small, and we had housed 600 pigs at a time. So we finished about 1,500 a year. And that's really a small production unit. What they're talking about now is nothing to scale that the sanitation practices that they have in place with this will be done in such a way there'll be no reason to be any offense to the neighbors. So anyway, I really appreciate their attitude towards it. Another thing I want to publicly before y'all thank the Takers List for what they do, not just for their sons and for the other students that they have helped with the pigs, but they do much for the county as a whole. There have been dozens of occasions where we have 4th grade farm day, 7th grade farm day. We've had kindergartners, out of kindergartners we host. We have different things at different venues. Students all over the county benefit from the work that they're doing. They have the opportunity to be exposed to this production because of the work that they're doing and because of their willingness to be of service. I just want to make sure you're aware of that and thank them for it, and thank them for it publicly to you. And thank you all for your work.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else? All right, if nobody else, do we have any that would like to speak in opposition? All right, in the back. Can you come up, please, as usual, state your name and your address.
Jerry Sanderson. I live at 355 Horace Elm Circle. First of all, I have to say they're their neighbors as far, except for the pigs. You don't hear nothing out of it. But she come up here last time with crocodile tears about how they hauled it in a dumpster. She's come back saying they do it again. They're going to have 2 pigs. You rezone this, she's going to be back to 60 pigs, just like she was again before.
How many?
60. She had about 60 pigs. Yeah, why don't you...
Mr. Johnson, we do not argue with speakers. You will have another chance to speak.
He had his chance.
Go ahead. You still got...
Yeah. But, I'm about to say, all of them want a pig in there. Why don't y'all buy my house? I move off and y'all won't see me over here no more. And the people of the zoning commission that voted for this, they hadn't even been out there. There's hard crap. This is a bunch of hard crap anyway, pardon the pun. But the crap runs down the ditch, across my front, and under the road, and down across the subdivision. And if y'all decide to vote on it, to pass it, I would like for you to come out there and check the soil, check my well, and guarantee that she won't have 1 or 2 pigs. I don't care if you don't have one, I don't care if she lives with pigs. But if you got pigs, they stink. And she's saying, well, I'm coming into compliance. When she was on here before with those crocodile tears, she was saying she was in compliance with it. Well, I just got a few pigs, and we don't have no runoff or anything. That's a bunch of bull. Y'all go out there and look at it. Just go look. Because if, but now, y'all, any of them that wants pigs, they ought to buy my house. Because if I have to sell my house, I'm gonna sue the hell out of somebody and get what's lost when I lose. Now, I'm tired of this. I don't feel like coming over here. It's cold, and I gotta come over here every 6 months because somebody wants to put a pig in my yard. And I'd like to invite y'all again to come out and eat with me. She's talking about the pigs, they get cold and they don't eat. When I go on my back porch, I don't eat either. You can't. It's been nice for about 2 months. Well, it took 2 months for it to clear up. It's been nice for a while. And now she won't come back and do it again. And did she say she went and spent $20,000 for another pen? Why didn't she put her pigs up there? Wrap them up in electric blankets or something. And something else that needs to be took care of. When I built a little barn, a 10-by-10 barn, I had to get a permit. I wonder if they got a permit for all that electrical and everything they've got up there. That's got to be checked in too. Now, like I said, I don't mean to be hateful of nobody, but enough is enough. I'm not going to go out on my back deck. Albert's voted, I'm not going out on my back deck and smell hogs. And I got an 80-year-old man living next door to me that I look after. He can't come out of his house for nothing because it just chokes him up. And she was saying that last time we were here, she was saying that we go up and sit down and eat pizza before we go to let them eat their pizza. Let them go get them a farm. There was a farm right below me that was failed. They should have bought it and put the pigs on it. Leave us alone. I've been out there 38 years, and the reason that it's been going on so long is because people were just tolerant with it. Like White and Sharon, he didn't say it because he wanted to be a good neighbor. It's not her kids now that's in school that wants these pigs. She said last time it's her niece that lives in Clark County that wants the pigs, but she can't have them in Clark County. So she wants to put them out there on us. So, like I said, anybody that thinks we'll have hogs, buy my house. Buy my house and I'll move and y'all won't hear from me no more. And thank y'all for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anybody else would like to speak in opposition, please?
Not bad. Thanks.
Come on up, Ms. Walker.
I should maybe Sharon Yen, probably you know me.
Yeah, just give her your address.
Sharon Yen, 271 Horace Nut Circle. And we live just directly behind the Tanker's lease. First off, all the property, I have to mention this AR, or A1, A2. And Leah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you told us back in the spring that the property, when it was sold, the new owners, before they developed Briarwood subdivision, never bothered to get it rezoned from...
Yeah, I was saying, well...
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
You
So
can
that's
go
why
ahead.
it's still A1, A2?
Right, they're not supposed to respond. There's no time to speak on it.
You can correct me later. Anyway, and like Jared was saying, the manure just goes beyond loathsome, and we have had to change our daily activities by staying inside and not planning outdoor get-togethers and whatnot, and it's just, and it is difficult, really difficult to sit outside on your back deck and maybe try to have a sandwich or something. You can't, you just have to get up and go inside, and it's, I appreciate what they've done and what they've done for the kids, but I think it's just time that, we get our lives back and we were able to go outside and enjoy some fresh air, again. So, not only is it the smell, the odor, it's also related to our health that I'm also concerned. I did a little bit of research, and I just going to make a couple, read a couple statements that I took off of the web. And one is taken from the sciencemag.org. It says, the stench of a hog farm may seem nauseating, but a study now suggests that hog farm emissions, which include dust, irritants, allergens, hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and hundreds of volatile organic compounds, could have measurable impact on human health. And another one states, that manure produces 4 gases: hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, methane, and ammonia. Of 4, hydrogen sulfide, which smells like rotten eggs, is the most dangerous according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The rotten egg smell is present when the gas is at lower levels. Animals and people who breathe it suffer from headaches, dizziness, and nausea. The danger occurs when the gas is at higher levels. Not only does it lose scent, but the results in inhaling the gas are far more dire: sudden respiratory failure, coma, and death. Carbon dioxide can also be fatal. Ammonia causes serious damage to the eyes and respiratory tract. And I just want to take a moment right here, and of course, I can't prove it, but I'm starting to have eye problems. And I just won't go into that. And the doctors, we just noticed it last year, and so they're going to start monitoring my, mainly my left eye. But I can't help but think, after reading this, that I wonder, you know, if the gases from the manure over these 17 years, sorry, I'm nervous, has had any effect on my vision. Of course, you know, I'm getting older, so that's, you know, it's hard to pinpoint. You don't really know for sure. All we know is that it's not hereditary, so the issues that I'm having. And then Wikipedia does talk about the large-scale farming, which we realize, you know, what the tanks actually have is not large-scale. But I feel like some of the, what it states in here can be related, you know, to it on a smaller scale. But however, we feel it's considered health issues. Of course, the large houses, they have thousands of swine and other farm animals. The feces and waste often spread to surrounding neighborhoods, polluting the air, water, and toxic waste particles. Waste from these farms have the potential to carry pathogens, bacteria, often antibiotic-resistant, and heavy metals that can be toxic when ingested. Pig waste also contributes to groundwater pollution in the forms of brown water seepage and waste spray, which is essentially the usage of a sprinkler and spray a vat, which I think Terry said they don't spray anymore, but you can't help but wonder about the manure and where, you know, how far it really spreads without doing, like Jared said, soil testing and water testing and all that. We just feel it's also will affect our property value, like, and I'm fairly certain that it will. I just don't know of a lot of people that would want to live next door to hogs. You know, there may be more than I think, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, we just feel it's a great concern, you know, health concern to us and to our neighbors.
Thank you, Ms.
For your consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak in opposition?
My name's Host Strickland. I live here in Madison County all my life.
What's your address, Mr. Strickland?
Huh?
Mr. Ron, need your address for the record.
Colma, Georgia.
All right. That's good.
I live on a farm all my life. I raise cattle, I raise hogs, and all. And Madison County is one of the top counties in the state of Georgia that is agricultural, with cows, hogs, goats, and all. These people coming in here, they want everything special. They need to investigate what has been going around there and how it's being used. But first of all, they want to buy and build and all. And I had a house next to me. Real good. We had a little problem when we went to talk to the people. We got it cleared up. He was a little bit under the table. He wasn't meeting with verification to what he was feeding the hogs. and all. But this is agriculture county. And you do away with all the agriculture in here, my God, you better get ready to get off the hip and go to the bank and start buying money. Your taxes will go up 3 or 4 times what it is now. And if you don't have animals, or move in there next to animals, you need to investigate what you do, whether you want to live with them or not. And I feel that just 2 hogs or 1 hog is not that much.
This was for opposition, Mr. Strickland, you know that, right? This is in opposition of the rezone?
Yeah, yeah. I'm for letting the people have the hogs there.
Okay, they have their chance, now have their chance to say, if you're for it, this was for opposition too.
Okay.
Yes, sir, thank you. If you wanna.
Yeah, there'll be another time, you can either you can allow him to finish now, or you can come back and.
I just wanna make it clear to everybody up here, if you're in opposition or against. So if you wanna finish, that's fine, but
Okay, I'm against.
You're against the rezone.
I thought
Are you against the rezone? Or
Yes.
You are, okay, we can keep on going then.
I'm not against it.
You're not. Well, if you wanna finish, that's fine, Mr. Strickland, but this is.
Now you done got me confused.
I know, I apologize, that's all my fault. This is for opposition, and you are for, so that's been noted, and we'll just continue to go with whoever's next for opposition, if you'd like to.
And I tell you what, this is a farming community.
Yes, sir.
And I want it to stay that way. And let people have stuff. I didn't go overseas and fight in the war to try to preserve us where we can have some stuff that we think is privileged for us and all. But I'm agricultural, 100% agriculture. I reckon I'll die agriculture.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
And all.
Mr. Strickland.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else in opposition?
Good evening. Mike Bush, 1805 29 Highway North in Danielsville. I'm not a resident of District 1, but I hope the commissioners will deny this request as they did last year. I consider this issue before us tonight a quality of life issue. I know all too well the stench of hogs, and it's not pleasant. One question I would have is what has been done by the Tankers League to ensure, from a sanitation standpoint, as to where or how or what steps would be taken to ensure that this stench is eliminated from a sanitation standpoint, because this quality of life affects the residents that are around the immediate area. Another issue that I would have if I was in the same boat is that what's this going to do to property values? If we do this tonight and it's passed, I'm afraid it opens the door for anyone to do the same thing in a primarily residential area of our county all across the county. And I'm not opposed to agriculture. I have enough property to be considered agriculture. But however, I am concerned about if this goes down and is voted in and approved, then someone comes in to another board meeting down the road and they want to do something similar in my district in someone's neighborhood. That's a quality of life issue. I have to thank you folks for the 3 that voted against this rezoning last year. I hope this request will be denied this evening, and I thank you for your time. And I know this is a big issue for a lot of folks. And I want to be on record, I am in no way, shape, or form opposed to agriculture in our county that we all love. But I think something has to look, some hard looks have to be taken at who is immediately around that stench from hogs. And maybe there, you know, I think that Mr. Chandler spoke well. He had a lot of hogs. 600, I believe, was the number that he was considered a small unit. But I believe Mr. Chandler had the farmland to do it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Anybody else speaking in opposition? Last call. All right, we'll open the floor back to any rebuttals, comments that you would like to make, Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't trying to be rude when I interrupted Mr. Henderson. I just misheard him. I thought he said 16 pigs, not 60. I don't believe there have ever been 60 pigs on that property, or that there could be 60 pigs in a 30 by 30 barn. A lot of these concerns are about what was there. What was there probably shouldn't have happened at the beginning, because the property was zoned R1, even though it's in an area with A1 and A2 and RR zoning. When the Tankersley's found out that what they've been doing for years wasn't allowed, they took steps to fix that. They are purchasing a 10-acre parcel south where they're eventually going to move all their pigs. But as she said, this is a low-impact use of an enclosed barn. It's got windows, ventilation system, heat, and fans, just for up to two show pigs during the show season. She does have two nieces that she has guardianship over, Terry and Russ, and Brooke and Charlie are both, and well, Brooke's in the FFA program. Charlie is only 4 years old, and she's in the Pee Wee Club 4-H. She does have two of Terry's niece and nephew, her sister's niece and nephew, also are involved in the show pig program. It's not an open hog farm. There's not high, intense smells anymore coming from the property. Ms. Yen said at the Planning and Zoning Commission that after they removed the pigs in the spring, and at that time there were 2 or 3 still there before they got them finally moved out in June, that she didn't have problems with what was there. It is a sanitary facility. It doesn't have a lot of pigs there all the time. It would have 1 to 2 pigs during certain years, certain months out of the year. So we're asking that the rezone be allowed. It's a very unusual situation where this arose. It is in an area that is zoned more agricultural than some of it is, like the subdivision to the west. That entire subdivision was zoned A1, 2-acre and 3-acre lots. Everyone in that subdivision could have 2 pigs, not in a controlled barn environment. The Tankersleys are asking to be able to have a rezone so they can have up to 2 pigs, and that's the limit under your July 10th amendment to the zoning ordinance. They wouldn't be allowed any more than that. They would not be sows, they would just be the show pigs. The sows stay in the pole barn facility to the south. There is case law, Ravy, City of Cordele. It's actually in my other rezones tonight. It says generalized evidence of undesirable property devaluation, crime, or increased traffic aren't sufficient alone to deny rezoning. A quote from that case, 1986, generalized fear of the area residents that they would suffer a decline in the value of their property, an increase in traffic and crime does not support denial of a rezone. More pigs were there for 15 years, for the 17 years prior to this. And nobody had a drop in their property values. Property values have gone up. So I don't think there is a genuine concern, realistic concern, that property values are going to go down by leaving what is already there and allowing the Tankersleys to have 1 or 2 pigs during certain times of the year for the show. It's not a commercial hog operation. It's not a pig farm. These are not being sold. When the animals do reach an age where they need to be put down, they're gonna be down in the other facility, and if they are slaughtered, they'll be used for personal use or for friends and not sold. Ms. Tatchley may want to say something else. I would just thank you for your careful consideration on this case. Again, it's an odd one. It's an unusual set of facts. We do have other property in the area, and I don't want to get into code enforcement and pointing fingers at neighbors that have horses and riding stables in R1 zoning, but this would fix the issue. Thank you.
Can I say something else?
Mr. Anderson, we can't, it's only for, I know that's just how the policy goes. He has the right to rebuttal, but there's no other after that.
Okay, I
I'm
don't want to
sorry.
say you got a contract with a gas company, I got a contract with
I know,
Madison County, pay my taxes.
I know, Mr. Henderson, but yeah, we just can't entertain anymore, I apologize. Is anybody else? Mr. Tankersley, I guess, as the applicant, if you'd like to say anything else, you get a chance here.
Wait a minute.
Yep, that's part of our policy, that's just what we have to
I don't get to
follow.
talk.
Because it's not in our policy, Mr. Henderson, we have a,
Policies for whoever sues.
that's not true, but that's okay. Go ahead, Ms. Tankersley.
He referred to alligator tears. Sure, it's been a long process. Long process that we've learned a lot with. We've gained a lot of friends. We've made a few enemies. That's life. I'm not asking to go back to where we were. I understand. I'm compassionate. I get it. I'm just asking if we need some accommodations here or there to be able to use a barn that took us years to build, that's got those facilities in it that would benefit us during these harsh times. I am the legal guardian of a niece that's actively showing, and she would benefit from that heat and being able to wash or clip that pig before Friday night leaving out, to be able to jack that heat up in there and use the hot water to give it a bath. It's inhumane to take an animal that exhibited and you've clipped it and take it out in 20-degree weather and try to give it a bath. You know, I'm not asking to go back to where we were. That was then, this is now. I'm just looking for the future and to abide by what's being implemented and two-headed hogs. And so, yeah, if there's alligator tears, it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into this whole process, and it has not been easy on my family or my children, and some of the community members that are supportive of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Can I say something else?
No, sir. No, sir. Sorry, Mr. Jerry, can't let you go.
I want to get this
Next question.
Let's close the public hearing if there's no more rebuttal, and
Get a motion in a second, we'll get the discussion, is that okay?
I think I need to ask for to do a motion.
That's your
The
prerogative.
planning and zoning, not a,
oh, okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead, Mr. Jim, go ahead.
Lamont, did anybody from planning and zoning go out and actually physically look at this property?
I drove out to the property and looked at it and how it fit in with the surrounding areas and stuff.
Didn't go on the property?
No, sir.
Teresa went out there, too.
She's not here.
Yeah, I know.
Mike,
Yeah, please, sir.
could we table this so I can go out there and look?
I was gonna say, let's move on back for discussion first.
Okay, we're gonna close the hearing, since there's no more out there, we're going to, open this side, and
And can I answer Mr. Jim's
Go
question?
right ahead.
Okay. So it takes 3 votes to do anything, either to deny or approve. So if discussion reveals that all 3 of you are not on one side or the other of that, I would suggest that you unanimously, the 3 of you, approve a motion to postpone the vote until next meeting, because a 2-1 vote's not gonna do any good.
so if you want to make that motion, Mr. Jim, you have that prerogative to table this until.
Well, I make the motion, because I want to be fair to both sides, please, and nobody from planning and zoning actually has been on the property, so I'm hearing this and I'm hearing that.
And Teresa will know, would like to talk to you as well about it.
Is that the proper motion to table?
Postpone the vote.
Okay, I'll come out and,
So we got a motion to postpone the vote.
Second.
We got a second. Mr. Jim, you'll start the vote?
yes.
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 All right, so we'll table that until further notice.
Well, just until the next meeting. I
Until the
would
next
say.
meeting.
Yeah, I'll come out.
Okay.
I'll come out, I want to be fair to both sides. I can get people from both sides, but I can't see what smell or.
Now,
About the January 29th.
January 29th.
now, Now, just to be clear too, that since we're doing this and this is still an R1 zone property, there should not be any pigs on the property. All right? Gotta get all pigs off the property, shouldn't be any pigs on that property right now, just like it has been, okay? So, just wanna make that clear. All right, so we'll table that until the next meeting, and we'll, open back up, recognize the P&Z chair for our today's, planning zone.
Voted to postpone.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the next rezone request is by Wayne and Carol Douglas. They're requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of their 7.23-acre property from A1 to RR to subdivide. Property is located in map 34, parcel 5A on Joe Cooper Road in District 1. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was 7-0 to recommend approval of this rezone request.
All right, well, we'll, open it up, and if, anybody's in favor, I'd like to talk to this. Yeah, if anybody's in favor, like come up and talk, we'll entertain those, on this one.
I didn't hear his,
Who it was?
yeah, that's everybody talking.
We say a little loud, we need a microphone on that
It
thing.
was Carol and Wayne Douglas requesting to rezone 2-acre portion of their property from A1 to RR to subdivide.
So this is Wayne Carroll Douglas, this is, over in Iron, in Joe Cooper Road. Mr. Douglas, would you like to say anything?
I think my boss pretty much covered it.
All right, is there anybody else who would like to speak in opposition to this rezone? All right. One more chance. You're good? Everybody's good? All right, we'll bring it back on this side and, we'll take a motion. Motion to approve. And I'll second it. And, vote, I'll vote first. Yes? Yes. Yes. All right, so we'll pass that. Easy enough, Wayne. Thank you. Lamar,
Mr.
recognize
Chairman, I'm
you
gonna
again.
let Linda handle the next three.
All right. You go right ahead, Linda.
I'm looking at my notes because y'all gonna really have to keep up with this one.
Is this the, Miss Mary?
Yeah, this is Miss Mary.
You can use that name if you'd like.
These were actually taken up as one vote by the P&Z board because one request is contingent upon the other. If you look at your tax map, the one that I color-coded, as I explain it, it will make it much easier for you to keep up with and understand.
We need the applicant's consent. Consider them all together. Is the applicant present on this?
I don't see her.
She's not here.
Okay. It is up to the applicant as to whether you can consider them together or, separately. So probably what we could do is hold the, all of the explanation and the public hearing as one, but then take 3 separate votes once the public hearing's over.
Okay. That'll work. Okay. Well, since Miss Mary's not here, I guess I will do all the explaining. Okay. Her first request, and for those of y'all that are not familiar with this request, this, and I know I would slaughter their last name, Boutier. That's it, close enough. This is, the winery in the county. Sadly to say, they're getting divorced. And I have worked with both sides, both Mary and Victor, and with both of their attorneys to make sure that all of this would be in compliance, with the zoning and that they could work this out and make it happen. She used to get half of the land with the 2 residences. He got the other half of the land, with the winery. So, her request, the first one, is to rezone the home. That's the home that she lives in. You will find that in the pink square. To rezone it from RR to A2, to combine with the adjoining property, that's the yellow that's around it. Then, the next request is to rezone that 12.76 acres from A1 to RR, to subdivide a 2.76 acre parcel, with an existing home. Now, that home sets back over here. It was the home they lived in before they built the current home. Then the last one is to take the remaining of the yellow portion and to rezone it from A1 to A2. And of which all of this is contiguous. So the end result is you would have two plus acre parcels, and then one 10-acre parcel with the main dwelling on it. Did y'all able to keep up with?
I think so.
Okay.
You guys all along with that? Okay.
I think so.
They've done this longer than me, so I'm sure they got it better.
Okay.
You got colors.
Yeah, and then if you look at that color-coded tax map, it helps a lot with that one. This was approved by the P&Z board 7-0.
Or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. Well, you gotta do put it here first.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But she's
All
got
right.
number 4.
If there is anybody who would like to speak in favor of this rezone, or all three rezones, we'll hear them now.
I'm not representing this species,
Yes, sir.
but I am speaking in favor.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, address?
Victor Johnson, Graham Law Firm, 300 General Daniel Avenue, or 66 General Daniel Avenue, Danielsville. The reason I'm speaking in favor is I did the closing for Victor Bouchier when Mary transferred the winery half to him. We closed that right before the new year. So that part has been done. This rezone is a condition, or it's a requirement in the settlement agreement and the divorce, and the divorce was granted in December. Or maybe it was late November. So I've disclosed, I did the closing for Mr. Bouchier where Mary sold him his land, and I just urge you to approve this because it will allow the two of them to get on with their lives, the winery to operate, Mary to have the residential property, and we don't end up with more mess and litigation. Not from me, but out of the first.
Thank you, Dick. Anybody else in favor? All right, we'll move on. Anybody in opposition? Anybody? All right, in favor one more time? All right, I think we're good, guys. I'll bring it back on this side, and I guess we'll be looking for a motion to approve. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, Ms. Linda's got number 4, so, yeah, there you go.
So this one will be the tax map number 21, parcel 55A4. Will be the one that's rezoned from RR to A2. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we'll go ahead and vote. Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, we got that one done. All right, the second one will be tax map number 21, parcel 55A1. It's a A1 to RR.
RR portion.
RR portion. Be looking for a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Start with you, Mr. Eastco.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. All right, and the final one, be tax map number 21, parcel 55A-1. We're gonna change this from, rezone this from A1 to A2, A1 to A2. Look for a motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve.
Vote for second.
Got a second? Yes? I'll start, yes?
Yes. I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right, well, wait, what's the now? All right. All right, so we got those. That was easier than I thought it would be, Lynn. All right, and we'll go back to the recognized Mr. McGuire.
Okay, the next two is, they're contingent upon each other, but I think Victor is representing Chris on this here. Planning and Zoning Board took these up as one vote. First one is Chris Jones from Calwood. 4 Calwood Properties is requesting to rezone 16.031 acres from A2 to R1 for a major subdivision. Property is located in map 31, parcel 13002 on Highway 29 South in District 3. And the second rezone request is Chris Jones for Calwood Properties is requesting to rezone 5.021 acres from A2 to R1 to combine with the above property as part of a major subdivision. The property is located on map 31, parcel 130 on Highway 29 South in District 3. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 5-1 to recommend approval of these two rezone requests.
Thank you. All right, so we'll ask for anyone in favor of this rezone to come up and talk.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Mr. Johnson, Graham Law Firm, Danielsville, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
I would ask the two of these be addressed together in one hearing.
That's what we need.
I have an attachment for the zoning application and a constitutional challenge, basically because denying the rezone would deprive my clients of any economic use of the property, and they would not have original use. Several subdivisions have been allowed recently in Madison County. They're listed in my handout, including Bryant Woods, which is older but in this area, Tumbling Creek Phase 2, Bryce Landing, Cypress Woods, which is the McCann Marsh Road property, and the Fishes Property LLC on Piedmont Road, which is the one where you look at the preliminary plat tonight. The main reason they're asking for this rezone is to be able to put in a residential stick-built subdivision. They are intending to have houses of 1,600 square feet and larger stick-built in the property. Chris Jones could not be here tonight because his wife had surgery. Mark Knott could not be here tonight. He has been grading and developing in this area for a long time. He did golf courses at Chateau Lawn, he's done subdivisions in Elk County, Hart County, Madison County. They know what they're doing. Daniel Hardigree, the realtor, could not be here tonight because his wife and child is sick. And if they weren't, he would be at the Georgia game with his daddy because it's both of their birthdays. And what I'd like to do, he had given a review of the need for residential subdivision in Madison County, even with the existing ones that have been approved. I want to just summarize what he talked about to me and what he discussed at the board, at the Planning and Zoning Board several weeks ago. Daniel's from Madison County. He lives in Jackson County. He's a $1 million realtor. He does a lot of agricultural to residential sales. He's probably in his late 20s, early 30s. He's from Madison County. He has a lot of friends that were from Madison County, don't live here anymore, want to move back, and cannot find affordable housing to live in. Not everyone wants to live on a large tract of land. Many people want an acre and a half or less and a house with neighbors, and they don't want to have to maintain 2 or 4 or 10 acres of property. There is a growing need for housing in Madison County because Jackson County is about built out on a lot of what they have. City of Commerce, all the houses there are too small, and people don't want to buy that small a house. They can buy a larger house here in Madison County, stick-built for the same price, $150,000 to $180,000 range. He had mentioned before the Planning Commission that through January to December 19th of last year, 221 homes were sold in Madison County, and 175 of that 221 were less than $175,000 homes. The importance of getting new homes in residential subdivisions is that that drives the market. It helps existing home prices go up, and more importantly, it helps people who are moving up in life. They're getting older, they're getting better at their job, they're getting raises and making more money, to move from a starter home to a mid-size home to a higher level home. If you don't have the lower and mid-size homes out there, nobody's going to be able to buy the $200,000 and $300,000 homes in Madison County because they just won't move here. They'll go to Oconee County, where they've got a large housing market. Mr. Hardigree said the sweet spot in Madison County right now is $185,000 to $200,000 homes based on our current income. $43,750 is the median household income in Madison County. That's based on the U.S. Census Bureau data. Its median income means of all the households in Madison County, that's what most people make there and below. So we need houses in this type and price range in order to drive the real estate market. Why do we want to drive the real estate market? I've been in zoning hearings where people are complaining about people making a profit building residential subdivisions. Well, that's business. That brings jobs to Madison County. That brings people to spend money while the construction is going on, not just after they buy their house. And if you don't make a profit, you're not going to do anything in business. So I've never quite understood that argument. We've got good school system in Madison County. Jackson County has a good school system. There's 1,000 jobs coming in Jackson County for the Amazon warehouse. There's 500 new jobs coming in Jackson County for the Toyota plant. I wish those businesses and industries were here, but those people are going to be wanting places to live, and that's not that far from Madison County to here. In fact, my paralegal, who lives in Franklin County, her husband works at the Toyota plant. So he drives from Sandy Cross in Franklin County to Commerce, well, north of Commerce, to work. This property is on the highway. It's proposed, the site plan is there, 11 lots for a residential 1.5 acre minimum lot size development. If the rezone is not approved, they really won't have any feasible economic use of the property because they'll have 21 acres, and one house on it. They can't afford to just split it into 2 or 3 lots because the road required to get back is too expensive. You pay about $180 to $125 a lineal foot for road work right now. So a 1,000-foot road into subdivision is going to run about $125,000. And that has to be taken into account when you're building a residential subdivision. They don't know if they're actually going to build the homes or not. They do plan to do the site work and the prep and the subdivision approval because that's what Mr. Knott has been doing for years and they know how to do it. They build good quality subdivisions, and of course there are lots of health regulations and other regulations when you get into the subdivision building stage. Make sure the land and the water is protected. There's no wells here. It's got to be on the county water system. So we'd have up to 11 homes added to the county water system. There is similar type use in this area. Both of the zoning administrators' analyses in both rezones show complete compliance with the zoning ordinance and consistency with the comprehensive plan, and that it would be in compliance with our current ordinances. Reserve time for questions or response to concerns that people may have. Thank you.
You'd like the board to vote on both of those?
Both Highway 29 will be done in one hearing and one vote.
Gotcha.
Right. Yes, sir. Because the site plan is both parcels together. Now, somewhere there's a 5-acre error in the tax rolls, because it shows this as 24.5 acres, but it's not. It's 21. That doesn't have anything to do with the rezone. The rezone has the correct acreage. But at some point when this property got split up, there were a couple of 5-acre splits in the northern pieces years ago. I don't know if something just got left off or what. It's not a zoning issue. It's just if someone whoops, and now it's parcel 31-130 for both pieces. The 5-acre piece, I'm sorry, the 16.03 acre piece was parcel map 31, parcel 130-02. That has been combined with the 5 acres. So the rezone is based on what the tax parcels were in October.
Okay.
When they applied, it's the same property. I just wanted to point that out in case someone asks. Does that make sense? And that does happen. That happens all the time. You would not, you'd be amazed how many times I see that in many counties where they make a mistake on the acreage when land gets split up. Thank you.
All right. If there's anyone now that would like to speak in opposition of these, whoever wants to come on up, if you'd like to come on up.
You go.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Orlando Adler, 217 Watson Drive. My property butts up to the corner property of 29. I oppose this because due to the fact of the congestion already in the area, accidents. I know the zoning provocations that he was talking about, because I myself was interested in the property as keeping it as a whole. Miss Smith passed away and her daughter inherited the property. Miss Smith never wanted a subdivision put on that property. The realtor that I spoke with offered, they were selling the 14 acres plus the additional house to whoever wanted to buy it. They would add the house with the property. Okay, I made an offer of $100,000. She wouldn't take no more. She wanted $140,000. I made $100,000 offer, and some reason something got mixed up with the realtor that I was dealing with, because I was last to be known that the property already sold, that the family sold it. Mrs. Smith's daughter sold the property just after her mom passed away. She didn't need it, so she went and sold it. And another thing I want to say is that on my subdivision, there's so many wrongs in that subdivision. I just don't want subdivisions popping up everywhere in the county. I'm not opposed on Piedmont property. I don't care if he builds over there or whatever. It's not in the congested area where I live. I've seen many accidents. I even seen death on that road. If you don't remember, last year there was a pedestrian killed on that road. He's assuring us that DOT will do everything to make that road acceptable to the traffic once that community is developed. But he's not taking consideration. He said there was a census done. Okay, is Madison County equipped for more traffic, more kids, more children attending schools, more school buses? Where's the taxes going to come from for all this to happen? From the house sales? Not likely. On tax increase probably, on us. All right, there, and I'm going to talk about my subdivision now for just a minute because it butts up with that, okay? There are so many wrongs in my subdivision. I welcome each and one of y'all, like I told the last meeting we went to, okay? I invited him over to my subdivision. There are houses in there, there's still houses in there, which Mr. Law firm over here, Graham's Law Firm, said that there was a high demand for houses here in Madison County. There's houses everywhere popping up. Jefferson, Commerce. There's already a house community being developed right across the junkyard over there on 29. Those junkyards been there. Those are businesses. There's a couple of people here that have businesses on 29 that they are requiring to meet requirements for the area to be developed. And one more thing that I would like to say, in my neighborhood, there were so many wrongs done to that area. They have drained what was supposed to be retaining ponds and property that weren't asked per allowed to be developed on. I don't know how that worked out, but I've seen trucks come in, dump dirt, and the house goes out. I've seen retaining ponds leveled and houses built up. Houses have to be in certain codes in a certain subdivision. They have to be laid out as the houses that are already in there, if I'm correct. If that's what Madison County, I think it's, all the houses have to be the same in an area.
No, it's fine.
Well, I don't know if it's brick or siding, vice versa. Well, there's brick and siding there. And I think there's also architectural shingles and non-architectural shingles. The subdivision is a mess, a complete mess. And again, I invite y'all to go look at it. And another thing, there was something overlooked there that was not caught to everybody's attention here. The Smith Cemetery. There are 32 graves back there with no access that they built houses right in front of. How did that happen? I don't know, but I'm sure whatever community of historical preservation sees it, it's going to be something on this community. So, I rest that, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people here that's gonna.
Yes, sir.
oppose that.
We need to get to them.
No, well, I'm
Thank
sorry,
you,
I took
sir.
too long.
That's okay, that's okay.
All right, thank
Give
you.
everybody about 5 minutes. Next, you like to come on up, ma'am?
Rhonda Ayla, and my property address is 7139 Highway 29 South.
Thank you.
I built and own Happy Kids Learning Center. I purchased property there in this area. I built the house next door in like '87. And then I bought property for the daycare center in '89. And that had I could have projected what this traffic was going to be. A lot of older people in the county refer to this area as the S-curve, and because it's like an S. It's very dangerous. There's been numerous accidents myself waiting to turn in. I've been hit. My parents at the center, at certain times it's almost impossible to get out. Where Mr. Jones is considering the drive for this subdivision, I can stand in my parking lot and see, I mean, cars, there's limited vision there. Cars slamming on brakes, almost hitting each other. From one curve to the other, even a tractor trailer loaded going 55 would have a hard time stopping. I know the last meeting they mentioned maybe considering lowering speed limits. As congested as this area is, I just don't see that would help. It's my main concern is, and I had like 15 parents that wanted to come and speak in opposition. However, they had something else to do tonight. My main concern is the safety of our children that are entering and exiting the center. It is dangerous already, and I can only imagine if you put 11 houses, 2 cars each, 22 cars entering and exiting, it's going to be tough. I guess I'm just begging you guys even to come out and to observe the traffic. 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock, there's almost an accident every day. It's a highly traveled area, and people don't pay attention. So,
Thank you, Ms. Haley.
you're very welcome.
All right, who's next?
Jim Hembry, 7164 Highway 29 South. I live directly across from Happy Kids Daycare Center. I'm 61 years old, and in my entire life I've never seen an area that has that many accidents. It is phenomenal. 6 cars have landed in my yard. 1 has hit my house. 1 came across the road and obliterated my truck. And that's just the ones I've dealt with. The neighbor above me, the 2 neighbors above me, cars have had serious catastrophic wrecks right there. When I first moved here in 2000 to that house, there was an accident every week because people coming from the Danielsville side, people that were turning left to go into Happy Kids Daycare Center. This is normally in the morning, 8 o'clock, people trying to get to work. The people were going too fast, and they could not stop, and rear-ended several of Rhonda's customers right there. There have been several trucks go off the road right there because they could not stop. I warned law enforcement about this. There was a box truck, a big box truck that could not stop, and would have rear-ended one of the Happy Kids parents, and with all the children inside. But he went off the road onto my property right there. That's another one, accident on my property right there. This is almost like the Bermuda Triangle of areas right there. There's been, and that doesn't count all the ones that are landed on the other side, on the properties on the other side. This is a huge safety concern. It's not that I'm not against any kind of development. I'm for development in Madison County, and I understand what the lawyer was saying. But if this is not remedied, and if there's not some limitations as far as speed and whatever, and you add this access to this road right here, there's going to be a serious safety issue. I take, every morning, I try to get out, and I normally go a little after 8 o'clock. I work that out with where I work, because it is so dangerous to try to pull out right there, and that's even just to make a right turn. If this subdivision goes in, and there's no remedy for this section of road, there will be, and I promise you, there will be a catastrophic accident that will involve the loss of life. I'm surprised in all these accidents people have survived, but it's just by the skin of their teeth. And I don't want to be like Cassandra warning the Trojans about that there could be a serious consequences to this. But if I'm not listened to, then I will feel like her. I wish you would just come and observe, and that section of road just cannot absorb some kind of outlet right there. And I'm trying to protect the residents of that subdivision as well, because you just don't, it's just phenomenal. It's almost, I feel like I'm almost sounding like I'm speaking hyperbole, but everything I said is absolutely accurate. It's just a very serious problem right there, and safety is the one caveat I'm very deeply concerned about right there. And if nothing is done, if that is not remedied, then there will be a catastrophic accident right there.
Thank you. Anybody else in opposition for this rezone would like to speak? All right, we'll have to say
I know y'all want to get home. I'll try to make mine quick. My name's Wayne, 149 Joe Graham Road. We have a salvage yard. We've been there. We live, our residence is also there. We've been 56 years, been in the auto salvage and now the RV salvage for 34 years. And I have seen a lot of changes in that time. I'm hearing now that the 11 home subdivision is not required to have a desale lane. I promise you, if they don't have a desale and an exhale lane, we try to get out of Piedmont Road on the 29. Her people are trying to get out of the drive. And I can promise you that they won't wait until it's a clear zone. They're pulling out in front of somebody, or they're pulling out, if they're coming toward Danielsville, there's 2 or 3 cars going to be on their bumper before they ever move. So I just don't believe it would be feasible. And as far as the property, all property is valuable. I don't think Mr. Johnson can tell us that the property is useless if y'all don't vote on the subdivision. And the cemetery that was mentioned, all of that property at one time would belong to a Mr. Smith. He divided that property up and gave it to the blacksmith. There were 4 families. There's a burial place back there, and a few years back, one of the brothers passed away, and this county opened up the drive to the cemetery. Now the cemetery is at the other side of another property, another subdivision that has been built, and I don't know how there could possibly be any access to it. And that should be strictly against the law. The way they came in before was from 29, Highway 29. And they can no longer do that. So, and also, the back of our property is gonna be their line, and that we have seen 2 subdivisions go in right now, and we've also heard that, one of the residents has been there saying they wanna beautify Joe Gray Road, beautify us. We were there before they came, and I hope these people realize we're there before they come. But we don't want to be doing screening or whatever. I'm getting to the point in life that I don't want to spend unnecessary money that I don't have. But anyway, we appreciate y'all's thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edger. Excuse me. Anybody else would like to speak in opposition of the rezone? All right, we'll let people in favor come back up and rebuttal there. Mr. Johnson, if you'd like to.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I sympathize with Mr. Adler, but this is not Watson Manor. Mr. Knott, who is one of the partners in Cowboy Properties, Mark Knott is a very experienced developer. He knows what to do and what you have to do. There's about a 1,900-foot straight stretch in this section of the highway, starting from the property to the north of this property, which is Ms. Barrett's property just south of the daycare. The proposed site plan, well, you can't see this unless I turn it, so I'm going to turn it flat. There is 668 feet of road frontage on this property along Highway 29, which is shown as lines 1 through 7. From the northern boundary to the start of the 60-foot right-of-way required for the entrance road is 535 feet. I drive that road, I'm concerned as anyone with traffic and safety. DOT does have a plan to eventually straighten Highway 29, but no one knows how many years away that is. They drew it up 10 or 20 years ago. So we don't know when that's going to happen. But the DOT, I don't know if they're going to require a decel lane or not. Mr. Elwine said he heard that the DOT wouldn't require one. I don't know. I do know they have to look at it and determine if a decel lane is going to be needed based on the number of proposed cars. An engineering study based on their averages. You can't deny a rezone just because of generalized fear about existing traffic and congestion. You've got to have specific reasons on why. After a rezone is permitted, then there is an entire permitting and approval of regulations where the DOT would have to look at whether there's going to be some kind of traffic control required on the highway or not. And of course, EPD would have requirements for the soil fencing, erosion and sedimentation control plans, which I believe is one thing Mr. Adler had problems with in his subdivision. That's all got to be complied with. They're much stricter now on compliance than they used to be several years ago. I mean, this is a different person developing this property than whoever it was that did Watson Manor, which is off here. And it comes down out on the Piedmont Road. And we just asked that the rezone be permitted, allowed, so that they can proceed into the subdivision approval phase for the development of the property. This is a straighter section of the road in here. It's in about a third of the way down. where the driveway is on the 1,900-foot straightaway below the two S-curves. Miss L1's daycare center is right in the middle of the curve. I mean, it's a bad curve, and you can tell it because you come down the hill and you go around the curve. And that's unfortunate, but it's not the same location as this subdivision is. Most of the property may be going southwards Athens. We don't know. That's where most people work in this county, at least in this part of the county. We would ask that the rezone be approved, and I will answer any questions I'm able to answer.
I got none for you, Victor.
Thank you.
Sir,
All right.
he's called my name 2 or 3 times. Can I rebut against it?
No, sir, I apologize again, that's part of our policy.
So you can't say nothing else?
No, sir, they get the final rebuttal.
Okay.
All right, so we'll bring it back on this side, we'll be looking for, we're gonna put those two together, so, you have your public hearing. So it'll be 7 and, 6 or 7 or 7 and 8. 7 and 8, so we'll put 7 and 8, just wanna make sure I get it right. Put 7 and 8 together, for consent agenda, look for a motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Chairman, I'm 100% in favor of growth in the county, but I have a problem with the cemetery, no entrance and no exit, and also the safety aspect of the safety issue of the subdivision there too. I'll make a motion to deny.
Do you have a second for that?
Not in my district. I haven't. I tell you what, I'll make a second just for discussion first.
Okay, well, we have a second, so we can get into discussion on this. Mr. Eastco, is there anything you'd like to start before I talk about this?
Well, what kind of happened tonight with people out and sick, and this is not my district. I try to know what's going on. If I see a rezone coming in my district, I go visit, I check it out and everything. And I've heard 2 ways again, just like on the pig issue. I've heard 2 ways again. And I haven't seen it. I wish Teresa was here because I feel sure she would have visited the property and had some input.
Well, you know, I talked to Teresa for whatever it's worth, and you know, I was telling her, and she kind of agreed with me. I hope I'm not speaking out of place, but you know, rezoning is one thing, traffic is another. And if we're going to get serious about putting this growth and stuff like that, I know you have intersections in your district. I know Mr. John's got them in his district. I got them in mine. We have got to address this as we go through these growing pains. And so I think if we're going to address this in 2 different ways, if we're going to rezone this because, you know, we need to rezone it, that's one thing. But we need to make sure we tackle this, and I'm sure you guys are on board with that, just like Mr. Teresa is, that we need to attack that at a different angle. It's a totally different thing. We're going to have to get with DOT. We're going to have to make sure that these 20-year plans or whatever, we're going to have to make sure that we go and we make the state follow through. We've got LMIG money that for safety concerns and things like that's a no match to the county. That's straight LMIG money coming that maybe we could use to fix some of these dangerous intersections. I know in 1998 I had a wreck right down from where your daycare center is, put me in that ditch right there off the back, you know. Me and my sister and my mom, we all got, you know, seriously injured. I had stitches and things like that. But that is something, that was in 1997 or 98, okay? And so, and just imagine how much more traffic is on there now.
Yes.
But it's a totally different matter. You know, there's rezoning, there's in my opinion, and then there's traffic. And we have got to address the traffic as we grow, because we're going to grow, guys. I don't see any way around it. You know, either if we get, you know, litigation pushes us to make these things happen, or we approve them ourselves, we're going to have to make a commitment to these citizens and these constituents that we're going to work hard and get these traffic issues fixed. So that's my 2 cents on the thing, because I totally agree, Mr. Bethel, you're right. You know, we're going to have to think about this traffic. We're going to have to think about this. So, yes, sir.
Mr. Allen, Commissioner Pepple mentioned about access to the cemetery. The cemetery does not join this property.
It does not.
No,
And where did they enter and exit?
It's still, there's no interest in exiting that.
Yeah, and that's something that we're gonna have to address, because I believe.
Cemetery, right?
This is a cemetery.
Yes, sir.
There is a default on that.
Okay, so
Hang on
that,
one second.
okay.
And I think, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe legally, you have to have ingress and egress from those cemeteries.
Right.
You know, 'cause those, you know, we have, that's cemetery. Okay. And that's something that we can, you know, I'll talk to Teresa too, since it is in her district, and see if we can't, address that and make sure that that is taken care of.
And what about the retaining ponds?
Yeah, well, we can check into that too. That's hard, I'm not saying you're not telling the truth, that's just hard to
I
believe.
just want to say something.
And
My
so-
neighbors called the EPA.
Right, well, we'll check into
They kind of
that.
pedestal is about this high on the back of his yard that they let overgrow, and they sold the property with the house, and plus they left the forest part to cover the retaining pond.
All right, I think that's enough, and we'll check on that. But back to this, the discussion up here. So now, Mr. Eastco, if you would like, we could table this one as well. We'll get a motion in a second, you know, because we have to have three, you know, and I really am for this rezone, to be quite honest. I just want to attack that traffic issue. Because I'm telling you, I don't want to have it on my conscience that someone passes away because we didn't do everything we were supposed to do to make sure traffic was good in this county.
Mike, would that be appropriate?
And I think all
So
of
there
us.
again, if there's not a unanimous among the three of you what you should do tonight, then you could make a substitute motion. You do need to take some kind of action, 3 votes tonight, so if the three of you could agree to postpone the vote again, then you could make a substitute motion to do that.
I make a substitute motion that we postpone this until we can have the full vote.
I second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bethel. All right, I guess we'll vote on the substitute motion.
Correct, you vote on the substitute first.
If Mr. Bethel, if you'll
Yes.
start.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
And the first motion is void, so.
Perfect, so
I withdraw them.
so that's 7 and 8 will go to the next with the pig.
So that's continued to the 29th?
Correct, so it'll be those two together, and the Tankersley rezone will both be on the 29th, so. Right, okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll go to the next one.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll go to the next.
Okay, the next one is also Chris Jones from Callaway Properties requesting to rezone 69.9 acres from A2 to R1 for a major subdivision. Property is located on map 29, parcel 9 on Highway 106 South in District 1. However, entrance into this proposed subdivision will be through a road on East Commerce. Step off of this map. Yes, sir.
I can't find it. Let's jump at that.
Victor, you were representing this one also, right? Yes.
You don't want everything.
How did y'all vote, Lamar?
Yeah.
The Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation was let's see, 5-1 to recommend approval of the rezone request.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
The reason there was a difference in the number of votes, we started off with 7 members, but Gabe had to leave about halfway through the meeting.
That's right. I didn't know if he had, because I was there, I didn't know if he had a conflict.
No.
Or if he just had to leave. That's
Yes,
all.
he had family.
Okay, I'll take it.
Had a child to get
Do you have
ready.
enough? Oh, you got it, that's fine, man. That's fine.
Again, I have the constitutional attachment or challenge to rezoning, which is required. When I'm representing someone on a rezone application. I will save time if I can just incorporate what I said earlier from what Mr. Hardigree said about
But the Nice Fire Department.
I can just incorporate what I've already said about what Mr. Hardigree said, the planning commissioner, to me, about the need for housing in the county. And I'll just summarize that there is an economic engine when you allow new homes into the county. That brings in more rooftops, which is necessary for more businesses. And when you've got a good school system like we do, that drives the real estate engine, which brings in more business, increases income for people in the county, allows them to move up to better homes, and overall allows a benefit for the county. Now, it's a long road to do that. You don't get from median stick-built homes to high-end stick-built homes overnight. I've been doing business consulting, business planning, zoning, land use, real estate closings, and general practice in this county since 1995. And that entire time, I've heard from people, you need more rooftops, you need a more business-friendly atmosphere before we can bring more businesses into Madison County. We're getting there, but it takes time and patience. This is a Highway 106 rezone. The property touches Highway 106, but access will be on the East Commerce Road. This property has been vacant, as in not used other than woodland and agriculture, for a long, long time. Miss Augusta Jenkins, who Mr. Petlow and Mr. Easko may remember, and I know John was here when Miss Augusta used to come and talk to the commission.
I remember too.
Yeah, but, I mean, she was a very active member of the community. Owned this property, and it came out of her estate. Calvert Properties purchased this in June to develop. Initially, they wanted a 3/4 acre lot subdivision. You changed your zoning lots, so now they're at the 1.5 acre as allowed in the zoning limits. Again, this would be stick-built homes. They don't know if they're going to actually build the homes. They do plan to do the road work, the groundwork, the subdivision approval, and the grading to put it in. Also, because most of this, if you look at the color aerial of the tax map that should be in your package, if not, I've got one or two here, 80% of this property is wooded. There's a boon to the county because it was under conservation use, and if it gets developed for residential, at that time, when it's not being used for woodland anymore, they're going to have to pay the current use assessment penalty to the tax assessor's office in order to convert it to residential, which is the whole reason the current use value law exists. At the planning and zoning meeting, there were concerns about traffic. This property comes down into the intersection of the East Commerce Road and Highway 106, but the property itself is a good ways up. From there, the proposal is for, as shown on the site plan, 39 lots. There's mixed agricultural and residential use in this area. It is mostly agricultural. There are 32 lots right across the highway, right across 106 from this property. Small acre R3 zone lots along Stone Stewart Road, between Stone Stewart Road and Highway 106. Those are low value homes. This would be higher value homes in the area, which would increase property values in the area. Again, concerns about the Highway 106 intersection, which is about 1,200 feet. I'm just eyeballing it from the tax map scale, 12 to 1,500 feet from this property. That's a DOT issue on traffic from East Commerce into 106. Also, although we complain a lot about traffic in this county, it's not as bad as many other counties between here and Atlanta and between here and Athens. It is something the county does need to work with DOT to address on the state roads. Access would be on East Commerce Road, which is a county road. The site plan shows the proposed layout that could change during subdivision approval based on health department regulations. Also, there would be access to county water. The only way to do this with the 1.5 acre lots is to use the county water system for development of the subdivision. I know people are wanting to get out of here and get to the TV, so unless there are questions, I will answer any. Other than that, the reasons for this rezone are much the same as the last one. This traffic situation is nothing like the Highway 29 traffic situation. And as I've stated in my attachment to the rezone challenge, generalized fears about traffic, property values declining, increased crime doesn't really support the denial of a rezone. You have to have specific issues that this is going to cause problems and harm under your Title 14 of your zoning ordinance to the neighborhood. I don't really see how it's going to cause harm. There would be more traffic when you've got 39 homes instead of 0. But there's over a 1/4 mile along East Commerce Road for them to get out. And this would be stick-built home, 1,600 square foot or larger, which would increase property values in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Since all the Victors, Chris Jones and all them, is anybody here in opposition to this rezone?
Don't assume there's no one not.
That's true. Is anybody else in favor before we start that? The lawyer just gave me some good advice. Anybody in favor would like to speak? Sorry, I'm trying to move us along.
I understand. Well, you're all allowed to say communist, let the record reflect since we're still here. But
All right, we'll go ahead and move now to in opposition. Just please state your name and address, please.
Yeah, 367 Ben Crawford Road. And if I read this, it'll go faster, if you don't mind.
Yes, ma'am, you go right ahead.
I live on Ben Crawford Road, and Ben Crawford Road is on the north side of the property being considered for rezoning. There are 3 houses on our side of Ben Crawford that sit on land that backs up to the property being considered here tonight for rezoning. It was 1972 when my husband and I bought the 5-acre plot on Ben Crawford Road, and there was no zoning at that time. And shortly after that, there was no zoning, and that's when the less expensive houses were, well, they're actually trailers, most of them, on the other side of 106 near this property.
Yes, ma'am.
That's when they came in. There was no zoning then. And most of them have some sort of acreage. We were the first ones to have a house built on Ben Crawford Road after we moved to this area from Cobb County. And we had lived in Cobb County subdivision since the beginning of our marriage. And we moved to this area because we wanted to escape the subdivision lifestyle and live in a rural setting. We have loved living in Madison County. The thing I've liked the most is the beautiful scenery. The rolling hills and the green fields, the crops, and we have a beautiful pasture across the road from us with lots of cows and calves. And at the end of our road on the west side, there's a soybean field that is planted with winter wheat in the fall, and that's beautiful to watch to grow. Many households in Madison County sit on large lots, which contribute to the county being able to maintain its image as a successful agricultural community. The problem I have with the building of the subdivision on the land, building a subdivision on the land that joins ours is the number of houses. This property is now zoned A2 with restrictions of 5-acre lots. This is typical of Nice community in which we live. The majority of the home around Nice have some types of acreage. I think it would be a good idea, it would be good to keep the A2 zoning in place and put these planned homes on 5-acre lots in keeping with the homes surrounding them. Maybe the builder could just build larger homes. When you approve changes like this one, you're allowing developers to decide how our county should be, not the citizens. Another difficulty would be the entrance to the subdivision from Nice Commerce Road. The intersection of Nice Commerce Road is already a very dangerous place now due to a blind spot to the north. Our grandson had an accident there because of poor visibility and fast approaching traffic on 106. There is a lot of congestion already in the early morning hours and the afternoon hours after 6 due to the people coming and going to work. If you add 39 homes to that, there will be more cars added to the mix. A few years ago, our then commissioners turned down a zoning request for an event center that was very near where this subdivision entrance would be, mainly because of the increase in traffic that it would cause. The event center would have mostly been in operation on the weekends. The increase in traffic from a subdivision would be daily. One more thing. After we lived in our new house on our 5-acre lot for about 10 years, the property adjoining ours on the west side became available for sale, and we bought it. Now we have 22 acres, all of it zoned A1. On this property was a piece of land suitable for a hayfield. My husband and our son planted TIF 44 and started their own hayfield. Our house is on top of a hill, and therefore the house was built toward the back of the property, not too far from the line. So since we have the hay field, we have an equipment shed near the line. We have 2 tractors, plus a garden tractor for our rather large garden, which is near the line. We have mowers, hay rakes, hay balers, and hay trailers. We have pasture fences and some farm animals with a small shed, all in view of the new houses that are planned to be built. In my opinion, it is my opinion that the 2 or 3 houses that are near the north line, looking at our A1 equipment, etc., will not be easy to sell due to a conflict of the subdivision lifestyle and our agricultural interests and that of our neighbors. Let's be honest here. If this proposed subdivision was proposed near your property line, adjoining you, how would you vote? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition? Anyone else? Come on, mister.
I'm planning on speaking to that, but I will. My name's Steve Arnold. I live at 3415 Crowell Hollow Road. My biggest concern is the size of the lots. I know y'all can vote in tonight. What I say won't change you. I just have a concern with the size of the lots and the number of them per acre. I think that's a concern. I'm involved in the fire department. We plan on building a new station right across the road. Every one of those houses we're going to have to protect. And after a while, it gets to a point that you're going to have to say, you know, what can you protect and what you can't. And so that's my biggest concern. It's just the size and the number that's going in there.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else in opposition? Go once, go twice. All right. Mr. Victor, would you like to come back up and read the rebuttals?
Yes, sir. The market determines what gets built. The county provides guidance to the Board of Commissioners and the zoning ordinance. A developer cannot build 5-acre lots with expensive houses on his property because the amount of road required to be put in is too expensive to do that. If you go to larger lot sizes, you lose agricultural land. The reason is, a certain number of people are going to come to this county, depending on how many houses are available or lots are available. Many people don't want to build a house. I've been through it, did well. Some people call building a house a test of a marriage. My in-laws bought their house because the people building it got a divorce because they couldn't get along on what to do. So, the 1.5 acres is about the minimum size that would allow this property to be used as residential. There are a lot of trees. There will be buffers with the trees. As many trees as possible would be saved in the construction process, especially along the outer edges and along the highway. But you can't build 5-acre lots on a piece of property this big. It's just not economically feasible to do. That road system right there is $600,000 or $700,000. That's $600,000 or $700,000 of road that becomes county property before the subdivision is finally approved. That's one of your conditions. And we need to have people live somewhere, and they've got to have a place to live. So I'll ask that this do be approved. The rest of what I had to say is in writing before you about the economic arguments. I will also note that the zoning administrator has found that this is 100% in compliance with the land use plan and the current zoning regulations, and it would not be an adverse impact on the community or the neighborhood. Thank you.
Anybody else in favor? Like to speak? All right, we'll close the session over here, bring it back over here for a motion, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the zoning here. Second. All right, then we have to have some discussion. I live right down the road. I've talked to you, Ms. Nancy, and Ms. Ramon Booth, and I understand the traffic issue. I go that way every day. My wife and my daughter go that way every day. My mother and father, it is definitely on my mind, and it will be on my mind. Another concern that you guys were having were mobile homes. Well, that's not going to happen because it's a subdivision. We have just passed new subdivision regs where that we went from 3/4 acre lots, we doubled the lot size, minimum lot size to 1.5 acres.
Thank you.
We did that, we actually, they have to follow a guideline of 1,600 square foot for a, single story, heated space, 1,800 square foot for a 2-story heated space, so those houses are, usually at about $100 a square foot at least, they're gonna be nicer homes. The IDA, has run water down East Commerce Road. You can say what you want about if it was the right thing to do or not, it is there now. We have to deal with that. If we're gonna make money with the IDA and its taxes are gonna come down, they're gonna get self-sufficient, so they don't have to use that entire mill of taxes that that we have to give them, then we're gonna have to start having more hookups. We're gonna have to have those hookups. That's 39, he's not gonna get 39 lots in my opinion, but with perk and things like that, but that's 39 more hookups at $1,600 a hookup, and Victor, you can correct me if it's more than that. But I think it's 39, but $1,600 a hookup, right, for water hookups? For a water meter and all that?
I can't remember the exact price.
Something like that. So you can go ahead,
plus a tap fee.
you can go ahead and do the math, and finally, at some point, IDA maybe will be self-sufficient. We might not have to give them $665,000 a year for operating expenses. Another thing is well, I've covered the subdivision regs. I just think that these type things, this is where this should be. It's in the density that we want. And yet again, we're going to have to deal. I've already talked to DOT 2 or 3 times already to get the ball rolling about that intersection. We even talked today, I talked to Terry Cagle from DOT about even putting a roundabout right there at 106. And these are just suggestions. These are just working through a problem, okay? And I'm a commissioner and it's going to tell you exactly what I'm going through, because you're going to have to go through it with me. So if we're going to be real about this, there has to be options. And we gotta look at those options if they're actually gonna work. And that's just one option, and I've already started getting the ball rolling. So, these things are gonna happen. Farmland, you can't go out and buy a farm right now at $3,500 an acre and think you're gonna make money. I'm a farmer. If I didn't have family land that I already had, there's no way I could go out. All this farmland that's in Madison County, in my opinion, is not farmland. It's too dang expensive. Now, there's some north of 98, Mr. Bethel's got a ton in his district over there that, they might still be selling for maybe $2,000, $2,500 an acre, and that'll break a farmer. That's why people are going to Oakthorpe, things like that. You're gonna see the growth come from Athens. Having that bigger lot size, we've gotta get the water hookups. This is just, to me, this is something that, from a zoning standpoint, is a no-brainer, but we're gonna have to work our butts off to make sure that DOT does what's proper and necessary to protect our citizens on the highways. That is a state highway with a county road going across it. They've got to listen to us, and I promise you, that's what I'm going to try to do. So, but I believe this is the right thing to do here. This is the right zoning. Now, Mr. Bethel, you have your face that you sometimes do. Is there? And now, do we need to table this yet again, January 29th? Would you like to do that so other people are here, or are you ready to vote on this, yes or no?
I'd like to say one thing then, yes, I would
yes,
like to have the rest of the people here.
Okay.
This area, 2 times has been denied, rezone. And the main reason it was denied was because of the traffic issue. Now, I had a good friend that was almost killed in that intersection, total lost his vehicle, and it's just if you put 39 houses there, that's going to probably be 78 vehicles more coming in there. And I'm not going to vote for something that's going to take somebody's life. And that'll very well, and you talking about DOT, they might, 10 years from now, they might do something, but DOT not going to do anything.
I understand what you're saying.
You can't force them to. We tried for 5 years to get a traffic light in front of Ingles. Finally got it, but it took 5 years to do it. And they had to pay $70,000 in it to get it done.
Right, and that's what I'm saying with the LMIG money. There are safety concerns, and nobody's ever tried that. This isn't just, I don't want naysayers that nothing's gonna work if we tried it this way or tried it that way. If this is a new idea and a new way to do things, we've gotta look at that, and that's where I'm at. But since you're against this, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we table it until the January 29th, just like
I second that.
So, And we'll go ahead and vote, Mr. Eastco?
To take,
To table?
yes.
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 All right, perfect. We'll table that until January 29th. So Victor, we'll see you again on the 29th.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You have to withdraw.
Yeah, and I withdraw my.
Actually, you only rendered the first motion moved to it, that's right. Got it, okay.
Okay?
Next.
Okay, the next one is Susan and Wendell Hanning are representing Joyce Blair in requesting the rezone of her 8.11 acre property from A2 to RR to subdivide. Property is located on Blacks Creek Church Road and Daisy Drive on map 10, parcel 11 in District 1. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was 6-0 to recommend approval of this rezone request.
All right. Do we have anybody that would like to speak in favor of this rezone request? They'd like to come on up.
I'm Wendell Hanley, 4080 Jota Bend Road, and we're asking for a rezone on this to subdivide it for my wife and her brother and sister. Her father passed away in June of this year, and we're just trying to get it to where we can divide it up for the family will.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else would like to speak in favor? No? Anybody like to speak in opposition? Anybody in opposition? No? Favor one more time. All right, we'll come back on this side, and when we look for a motion to approve, it's in my district, I make the motion to approve.
Second.
Perfect. All right, and any discussion? No?
Yes.
No discussion, no discussion, no discussion. I got
My time to vote, right?
It's okay, I'll let you know, Okay. All right, Mr. Pettell, you right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, pass that one, guys.
Okay, next rezone request is Susan and Wendell Hanley again. They're representing Joyce Blair and requesting the rezone of her 10.37 acre property from A1 to RR to subdivide. Property is located on Fort Lamar Road on map 21, parcel 30 in District 1. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was 6-0 to recommend approval of this rezone request.
Thank you, Ramon. Mr. Hanley, would you like to come up and speak again?
Ditto.
Perfect. That's what we do.
You're not a communist.
Anybody else in favor? Anybody like to speak in opposition? All right, anybody, one more time for approval, have to do it? All right, we'll bring it back on this side, look for motions. This is my district yet again, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pettell. We'll vote, Mr. Eastco?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Perfect, good job. There we go. All right, so we just have some zoning amendments now.
All right, one zoning amendment has to do with adding a definition to Article 3. The definition is for a commercial vehicle. It says it may include cars, trucks, box trucks, tractors, trailers, and trailers, which is the second half of a tractor trailer, that are intended for use in a business or industry. And that's in addition to Article 3. The vote of the Planning and Zoning Commission was 6-0 to recommend approval.
Well, you know, just comment when it's a text amendment.
Okay.
So does anybody
Does anybody have any comments or questions, concerns, anything like that? No? All right, we'll bring it back on this way. We'll look for a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? I'd like to say one thing real fast, I promise. Commercial vehicles, DOT, US DOT, starting to get on folks. If you have trailers and you take cows to the barn, you have to have a CDL license and all this other stuff. Really just wanted to, that's kind of a PSA. Okay, you might want to go and look that up online, Google that, and see how that affects you. We'll go ahead and vote. First, I'll go yes.
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 Perfect.
No, this one.
It's postponed.
We had to work on the,
Did you? There was on this, there's a typo. Okay.
I called it.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure you're on the. All right, let's see. So that's all the zoning stuff. All right. We have one thing on the agenda tonight. And that's agenda item number 6. If there's any statements and remarks from citizens, we'll do those now. Agenda item number 5. If anybody has any statements or remarks on agenda items? All right, we'll move on to number 6. Consider allowing a splosh purchase for Collins Volunteer Fire Department, which will exceed the 60% quota. Is Mr. Farm here? Also. You have the floor, Mr. Farm.
My name's Jackson Farm. I'm the chief at Collins Fire Department. I'd like to ask the board to allow us to go from a 60% to 65% on the splosh, which is about $4,700 difference to allow me to purchase 6 sets of turnout gear.
You guys have any questions for me before we sit down? I know we kind of backwards, but...
You don't have anything left in your, what the county gave you to operate?
We could have
$60,000.
About 50 is what we get. But, we could take some other money out of that. We've had quite a few trucks expenditures this year. I think we're about 8,000. We had a truck that we had to totally redo the motor in. So, without getting into all the reserve to purchase this, that's why I'm asking for the additional 5% or $4,700.
Gotcha. Any other questions for me, Lance? No? Thank you. Appreciate that.
I know this is gonna sound like a broke record, but like a motion to postpone, it's the rest of the board here.
I think it needs to be tabled until we have
I got no problem with
full
that.
board.
Y'all make a motion in a second,
I'll make a motion to table it.
Motion table, second, Mr. Easter.
He made a
All right.
motion, I'll second.
And, Mr. Bethel, you'll be first to vote this time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, all right. All right, so we're gonna table that until the 29th as well. All right.
That's kinda like changing policy.
I understand, no, I understand, I'll go along with it. Anybody have any roads update, anything like that? Now that everybody's left, I guess,
I know urgent matter.
I've already threw it out
We can
there.
have an urgent matter.
I have been talking to DOT about, and I wanna say, I don't want people to think these roundabouts are the devil, all right? You know, this is not, you know, they are great ideas, they use them all over the country, all over the world, and we are just falling behind. I'm telling you, they slow people down. You know, it's really, like I said, they use them all the time. I know Mike, he praises them sometimes too. You know, it's just, I just wanna make sure that I wanna make sure that we look at all that. So, that's my roads update. And you said you guys are good. Urgent matters, we have to have a unanimous vote. We have a motion in a second, and a unanimous vote to put it on the agenda. So if somebody wants to make a motion in a second, we have a unanimous vote, we can put something on the urgent matters. According to our policy, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we knew the steps. If you guys don't already, me, you should know that anyway. But if you think it's urgent, we need to do that, we need to discuss that, motion in a second. No? Okay, good. Were you just picking at me? Were you just messing with me, Mr. Bell? I think you were just messing with me.
Urgent matter, well, I wanted to know what the score was.
You know, I ain't asked my wife.
Not you, no, I'm not.
Really? Statements and remarks for citizens will be number 9 on the agenda. Anybody have any statements, remarks, anything they want to just get off their chest? Mr. Mike, come on up.
I just wanted to say that, and follow up to your, piggyback on your comment about the roundabouts, if DLT will finish it, it'll work real well.
That's right, that's right. Yes, sir.
I agree on it in Ireland and England, so we know they work real well.
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Anybody else? Statements, remarks, anybody?
When it needs to put a water fountain in the middle of it.
Put a little water there. Mr. Strickland, you have something to say?
Yes, it's the darn roundabouts.
Right. Go ahead.
That one down here at the courthouse is big enough to use. That's what they're building up there, that thing. The mayor has said he wasn't gonna do anything he can so trucks down coming through in the red light.
Right.
Right. But they not taking enough room to turn them big trucks, the trailers on it and all, to go around through there. It's gonna be more dangerous than what it is now. I live on 98. I know how many comes up through there.
Yes, sir.
I have had to wait 5 or 10 minutes now to get in the road from them trucks coming up through there and them buses. We could get the buses off that road over there and them trucks, we'd be fine. But we had a good Board of Education and an IDA too. We're behind everybody's back in the county. They went down there and at Ghost and Stand, they built trails down that way. Now, the other day I counted 40 buses coming by my house, one right behind the other. That ain't no good. We have to sit there. I gotta go somewhere. Before 3 o'clock, I get on my driveway and wait till after 4 o'clock to get back in. So my parents coming up through there, they think you're supposed to get out of the way. And the buses, they think the same thing.
Yes, sir.
That roundabout up there ain't gonna be big enough, big enough trucks to go around where they got it now. And so, I mean, I don't know what we pay in our county government and some of these other people in the office to do, to just sit down.
City right here. We'll stipulate that roundabouts come from hell, and we leave that.
That's right.
Never mind.
Anything else, Mr. Cruz?
I know it come from the state, the county didn't have nothing to do with it except the city.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Strickland. As always, a pleasure. All right, we have executive session. No, looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. I got that second. Yes. Yes, perfect. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Thank you, commissioners, for helping me out.